The poisoned gift. The first time Rachel carved a hole in my life, she called it a blessing. "At least now you know you can get pregnant," she whispered, her hand a cold weight on my shoulder. We were at a family barbecue, 2 weeks after the bleeding started, 2 weeks after the ultrasound showed a silent, still heart. The smell of charred meat and citronella candles hung in the air. My husband, Kevin, was laughing with his father at the grill, oblivious. "Maybe your body knew something was wrong with it," Rachel concluded, her voice slick with faux sympathy. She patted me twice and walked away, leaving me frozen, holding a paper plate that trembled in my hands. That was the prologue. The real story began a year later, when her cruelty graduated from whispers to weapons. My name is Elara. For 3 years, I believed my sister-in-law Rachel was just difficult, a woman perpetually salted by jealousy because her younger brother, Kevin, had chosen me, someone from outside their polished country club world. I was a graphic designer with paints under my nails. They were a family of lawyers and accountants with stock portfolios. I miscarried our first baby at 11 weeks. We'd named her Lily. The grief was a physical cave we inhabited, Kevin and I, holding on to each other in the dark. Rachel performed sympathy like a bad actress when others were watching, but in the shadows, she was a sculptor of doubt. "Your friend had 3 miscarriages, but she was younger than you," she'd muse at her birthday dinner, just as Kevin went to the bathroom. "You're 32, right? The clock's ticking loud." She'd send me articles titled Advanced Maternal Age and Fetal Liability. When we dared to hope again, announcing a new pregnancy, her face contorted before snapping into a strained smile. In a tight hug, her breath against my ear was a curse. "Don't get too attached this time, just in case." The crescendo came at her own pregnancy announcement at Thanksgiving. The table was a glittering landscape of crystal and porcelain. She stood, raising a glass of sparkling cider. "To new beginnings," she said, her eyes finding mine, drilling into the raw, hopeful scar in my soul. "And hopefully this baby will be the first grandchild that actually makes it." The silence was a living thing, sucking the air from the room. Kevin's head snapped up. "What did you just say?" Rachel laughed, airy and false. "Oh gosh, a slip of the tongue. I meant carries on the family legacy." The table chuckled nervously, but the poison was already in the water. The final, unforgivable blow landed when I was 8 months pregnant, swollen with hope and anxiety. We were at Rachel's house. Kevin and his father were outside, fiddling with a faulty carburetor. Her husband, Vikram, was upstairs putting their toddler to bed. Rachel and I were alone in the sterile, white living room. She stared at my rounded belly, her own pregnancy at 6 months just beginning to show. "You know," she said, her voice conversational, "something could still go wrong right up to the end." She took a sip of her tea. "A friend of mine, her baby died at 36 weeks, just stopped moving. She had to deliver knowing it was dead." She set her cup down with a precise click. "That's worse than an early miscarriage, don't you think? At least you didn't have to deliver a dead baby." She leaned forward, her eyes cold and analytical. "Some women aren't meant to be mothers. Maybe your body knows that. Maybe that's why it rejected the first one." A sob tore from my throat. I couldn't breathe. The room blurred. The back door opened. Kevin walked in, wiping grease from his hands. He took in the scene. Me, shattered, tears streaming silently. Rachel looking annoyed, rolling her eyes. "What happened?" His voice was low, dangerous. "Just a hormonal moment over nothing," Rachel sighed. But Kevin's face was white, not with confusion, but with chilling clarity. I was at the window. I heard of the last 5 minutes. He took a step toward his sister. "What the hell is wrong with you?" The confrontation that followed was a bonfire. I, through hysterical tears, vomited up every vile comment, every hidden barb from the past year. The almost mom taunts, the just-in-case gifts, the constant undermining. Kevin, my gentle husband, became a stranger of pure fury. He called her sick, twisted. Someone who would torture a pregnant woman is dangerous, he seethed. You are dead to me. You don't come near my wife or my child. Ever. We left. For 6 glorious, peaceful months, we were free. Our daughter, Isla, was born. Screaming, healthy, perfect. Rachel was a phantom, banished. We donated her unopened gifts. We blocked her on social media. We built a cocoon of safety. Then the phantom learned how to knock. The call came from Kevin's mother, Carol, her voice shredded by tears. Elara, it's Rachel. She lost the baby. Yesterday morning. A stillbirth at 34 weeks. My heart, despite everything, clenched in shared human sorrow. Oh, God, that's awful. But honey, Carol wept, she's saying things, terrible things. She says you did something to her, that you cursed her, that you made this happen. A glacial drip slid down my spine. That's insane. She has screenshots from pregnancy loss forums, searches about herbs that cause miscarriage, looking up ways to curse someone's pregnancy. I never... My phone, still in my hand, buzzed. An unknown local number. A man's voice, flat and official. This is Detective Jason Miller. Are you Elara Vance? We need you to come to the station to speak about the investigation into Rachel McNeil's stillbirth. She's provided evidence you made threats. Before I could form a word, another call beeped through. Kevin. I switched over, my voice a panicked whisper. Kevin, the police just called. Rachel's saying... What did you do? His voice was not angry. It was worse. It was hollow, disbelieving. What? Rachel's friend. She saw you last week at Rachel's house. You brought her a gift bag. You said it was special pregnancy tea. They found it. It tested positive for pennyroyal, Elara. It causes miscarriages. It can kill. A choked silence. They think you poisoned her. The phone slipped from my numb fingers and clattered on the hardwood floor. The world tilted. This wasn't just cruelty. This was architecture. She had built a gallows and she was fitting the noose around my neck. My best friend, Marina, found me catatonic on the couch. She didn't ask questions. She called a lawyer. Evelyn Ryder was a blade of a woman, with eyes that missed nothing. She have witnesses, physical evidence, and digital footprints, she summarized coldly after I spilled the nightmare. This is premeditated. She's good. I wasn't there. I haven't seen her. Then we prove it. You talk to no one, not the police, not your mother-in-law, and especially not your husband. Kevin came to Marina's apartment that night, where I'd fled. He looked ravaged. Is it true? Did you hire Evelyn Ryder? I need a lawyer, Kevin. The police think I'm a murderer. Did you? The question hung in the air, a naked, brutal testament to our broken trust. No, the word was a stone. She's setting me up, and you're helping her. He left, the doubt in his eyes a wound I knew might never close. The investigation was a slow-motion suffocation. Detective Jason was polite, but relentless. The evidence was diabolically crafted. Screenshots from a pregnancy loss forum searching pennyroyal dosage for termination and herbal blends to end pregnancy. The date stamps were from the previous month. The IP address, Evelyn discovered with a digital forensics expert, traced to a public library. The security footage, obtained after days of agony, was the first crack in Rachel's wall. It showed a woman in a large coat and hat, face obscured, using the computer. It wasn't conclusively Rachel, but it wasn't me. The witness, a neighbor named Ariel, was the keystone. Under Evelyn's fierce cross-examination, her story crumbled. Yes, she'd seen a pregnant woman at Rachel's door. No, she hadn't seen her face clearly. Rachel had shown her my photo afterward, saying, "Was it her? I'm so scared of her." Ariel, wanting to help her grieving friend, had agreed. The case against me began to wobble, but the T remained, the tangible physical evidence. The breakthrough came from an unexpected quarter. Vikram, Rachel's own husband. Haunted and suspicious, he'd begun digging. He found a locked box in Rachel's closet. Inside was not grief mementos, but a blueprint from madness. A journal, pages of rambling, furious script about my theft of her brother, my undeserved pregnancy. Detailed plans, create forum account, use library, plant tea, use Ariel, she's gullible, and a receipt folded neatly from an online herbalist for pennyroyal, purchased with her credit card the week before she claimed I'd given it to her. Vikram, shaking, brought it all to Evelyn. He confessed he'd been in denial about the depth of his wife's instability, her obsessive jealousy that had curdled into something monstrous after her own miscarriage years ago. Confronted with the journal and receipt, Rachel's performance in the hospital room shifted. The grieving mother vanished. In its place was a feral, cornered thing. She screams that I had planted the evidence, that I was a witch, that I had stolen her baby's life through envy. Hospital staff had to sedate her. The psychiatric evaluation that followed diagnosed a severe psychotic break, likely triggered by trauma and fueled by a long unaddressed personality disorder. The legal pressure evaporated. The police closed the case against me, but the fallout was a permanent stain. My daughter, Isla, was my anchor, but the trauma had seeped into my bones. I was diagnosed with postpartum PTSD. The sound of a police siren would send me into a panic attack. I'd wake screaming, convinced I was in a jail cell. Kevin and I were strangers in the same house, separated by the canyon of his initial doubt. He moved into the guest room. We communicated in polite, painful snippets about formula and diapers. Therapy was a grueling excavation. My therapist, Dr. Vance, helped me see the pattern. Rachel wasn't just mean, she was a predator who weaponized my greatest vulnerability. Kevin's therapy involved dismantling a lifetime of conditioning that taught him to placate his volatile sister at all costs. Our joint sessions were minefields. You chose her narrative over mine, I'd say, the anger a fresh wave. You looked at me and saw a killer. He had no defense, only a shame that weighed him down. A year passed. The restraining order against Rachel was made permanent. She was released to a long-term residential psychiatric facility in another state. Carol, devastated but clear-eyed, chose our family. She visited Isla weekly, a grandmother seeking redemption. One rainy Tuesday, I found Kevin in the nursery, holding a sleeping Isla. He was crying silently. "I lost us," he whispered. "I was so afraid of the chaos Rachel promised that I walked right into it. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I just need you to know I see it now. I see her and I see what I did." It wasn't an absolution, but it was a start, a foundation stone in the ruins. The real twist came on Isla's second birthday. The party was over, the house a wreck of cake crumbs and wrapping paper. Carol was helping me clean. She hesitated, then said, "Vikram called. She's been discharged. She's stable, on medication. She's living in Oregon." I froze, a discarded paper plate in my hand. "What did you say?" I said no, of course, no. Carol's eyes were fierce. But she said if she didn't, she would tell everyone the truth, that the journal was a forgery, that Vikram and I conspired with you to have her committed to steal her inheritance, that she's the real victim. The cleverness of it was breathtaking. She had built a new narrative, one where we were the monsters. The threat was implicit. A lifetime of renewed drama, of family wars, of public smear campaigns. The peace we'd clawed for was so fragile. I didn't tell Kevin. The burden of his sister was no longer his to carry alone. I called Evelyn. 2 weeks later, a certified letter arrived for Rachel. It contained no threats, only facts. copies of the library footage with the woman's profile now enhanced, looking more like her, the herbalist receipt, Ariel's recanted statement, and the full psychiatric report detailing her manipulative patterns. Attached was a single sentence from Evelyn. Any attempt to contact, slander, or litigate will result in the immediate public release of all documentation and a lawsuit for malicious prosecution so vast it will consume your entire life. It was the one language Rachel understood: consequence. The phone calls to Carol stopped. The silence returned. Forgiveness for Kevin came slowly, in fragments. It came when he tirelessly took night shifts with a teething Isla so I could sleep. It came when he told his father, point blank, to never mention Rachel's name in our home again. It came the night I had a screaming nightmare about the police, and he didn't try to soothe me with words, just held me tightly until the tremor stopped, his own tears wetting my hair. We had another child, a boy named Leo. His birth was healing, a redemption song. The shadow was still there, but we had learned to live in the light beside it. Last week, I was at the park with my children. Isla, now 5, was on the swings. Leo was in the sandbox. My phone buzzed. A social media notification. A friend request. The profile picture was a serene landscape. The name was Rachel Bennett, her maiden name. She looked calm, healthy. The profile was sparse. My finger hovered over the screen. The old fear, the old anger rose like bile. I could block her. I could report her. I could let the cast pull me back under. Then I heard Isla's laugh, a sound of pure, unburdened joy. I looked at my daughter, who knew nothing of poison or plots or aunts who were phantoms. I looked at my son, building a clumsy sandcastle. I hit ignore. Not block, ignore. She no longer held the power to define my story. Her poison had been potent, but my life was the antidote. The greatest revenge was not in winning a battle against her, but in having a happiness so complete, so vibrant, that her darkness couldn't touch a single corner of it. I put my phone away and joined my children in the sun. And there it is, the story of a smile that hid poison, a gift that carried a curse, and a war waged not with shouts, but with silence and evidence. This was Elara's battle, a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous people aren't the ones who scream their hatred, they're the ones who deliver it wrapped in kindness, who plot in the quiet, and who attack you where you're most vulnerable. If this story of psychological warfare and ultimate survival gripped you, then you cannot miss what's coming next. Because on this channel, we don't just tell stories, we expose the hidden battles, the quiet betrayals, the revenge plans crafted in the dark. Your subscription is your front row seat to justice. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell right now.